Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Farms Coffee Hour. I think this is going to be episode number three, and I'm really excited about this one because for me, Big Brothers Big Sisters has been kind of an organization that has just been around for as long as really I can remember it. And then I shamelessly have always wanted to be part of the program, but I feel like I don't know, I'm just making excuses for myself one time or another to not join. But I'm really glad that you guys are on the show today. Before we get started, could you please introduce yourselves?
Sure. My name is Troisy, and I'm the bilingual enrollment specialist for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
And my name is Michelle Brisningham, and I am our match support coordinator at BBBS of Central West.
Do you guys work pretty closely with each other, or do you guys kind of work on different projects?
Very closely. We are a small but mighty staff, so there's 5 of us on staff right now. 4, that's right, sorry, 4.
Okay. Is it always kind of fluctuating around that like four-ish?
As we grow, that number needs to grow as well. When I first was hired, I was the only employee. I've been there for about 8 years. We've definitely gone through some growth, and we're always looking to expand and cover for sure. And as that expands, we expand staff. So
How long have you been on?
1 year and about 2 to 3 weeks now.
Okay. Well, congrats on your 1 year anniversary. I don't know you that well, but just from our few interactions, I'm sure they're more than happy for you to be on the team.
I learned so much from them, so I'm very happy and grateful.
You're like just you're just shining all the time, dude. Every time you're in here, you should know that you just like radiate like just positive energy. And it's good for any place you guys go to. Could you please actually share maybe some personal connections you might have with the organization, or like I imagine working for a nonprofit, you really feel like you're a part of the team. Like talk to us about how like what it means to you to be a part of Big Brother Big Sister.
Absolutely. I can go first. Sure. This was my first job right after college, which was really cool to work for a nonprofit instead of the for-profit world for the first job. I think as a young adult still, seeing kind of the work that we do for all the youth in our community, trying to build them up and give them that confidence to pursue careers themselves too, it's very inspiring to see. And so I think just as a young adult myself, I see myself in all the youth that we serve. So it's a great opportunity.
Do you feel like you've been like a young person like most of your life, and this is like a big change? Like you're on the other side of that table.
Absolutely. But I have very great role models. So our job is mentoring. But also, I feel like everyone that I work with has been a mentor for me. So it's a very great opportunity. Like Michelle, she showed me the ropes when I first started, and I would not be who I am in this role without her. So I think it's an awesome opportunity.
Oh, that's such a sweet thought that like I was implying you were like on one side or the other of that, but you're educating me. You're letting me know that you're on both sides at all times. That's an amazing thought. Thank you.
Opportunity to see the power of the mentorship through BBS. I had several students that I had worked with that had had their bigs for a number of years, had been matched in elementary school, and they were coming to the end of their match. And I always just thought of all of the nonprofits here in Grand Island as one that I probably connected with the most because their mission resonated with me. And so I was very excited to have the chance when I decided to step away from the teaching world for a while and be a mom. When this job came up, I was all in, and I'm probably more to the mission and what we do and the families and the youth that we serve in our community.
So cool. So what years did you teach at?
Everybody was asking me that. I was hired, everyone talks at the year of ninth grade. So it was when Grand Island Public Schools made the big transition from the junior high school model to the year that the ninth graders went up to senior high for the first time, which would have been the fall of 97 is when I
Uh-huh.
was there.
Yeah.
And then I stepped away from teaching like the 2010-ish or so. So I have a big gap of high school students that I worked with that are now young leaders in our community. In fact, the person that hired me at BBS was the board chair at the time, and she was one of my former students. And she actually came and talked to me and said, "We would love for you to come back and work with youth and do that because I know that you're good at this, and we need somebody to come do that." So that was a full circle moment for me to have a former student actually, as now a young leader in our community, to come work for her. So that was really, it's a fun dynamic for sure.
Well, the reason I ask is because I graduated from Gish in 2008, so then I was trying to see if I can remember if, but I was also like I wasn't very studious or sporty or any.
I've been wondering if I've had you in class because I was actually a special ed teacher and I was assigned to the math department. So a lot of people know me as a math teacher when I was in a co-teaching situation.
Sure.
So it was pre-algebra, algebra, geometry, algebra 3, 4, and then I also did some workplace readiness
Sure.
with youth as well. So I had a full gamut. And then in that time, I was also the student council sponsor for a number of years. So I had high needs kids and I had high achieving kids all at the same time. Yeah, there's still a lot of youth around that. And actually, some of our families are students that I had that their children are in our program now. So that's also kind of a fun dynamic of being in a small town that's actually pretty big.
What a testament to you as well for having somebody that you mentored as your time as an educator to feel confident and comfortable enough to seeing what you do and to be able to like ask you to come on. I think that's amazing. So that's awesome.
It was pretty cool. It's still a very cool story. So for sure.
For anyone who doesn't know what Big Brother's Big Sister is, can you explain it to them? And as simple as possible is always really nice.
Troisy's really good at this. I know.
Well, so Big Brothers Big Sisters, we are a mentoring agency right now. I guess for a teenager, we take an adult in the community and we match them with a youth. You hang out once a week or every other week, and it's just time for y'all to hang out, talk, and just really get to know someone else and identify yourself and have somewhere where you feel like you belong.
Okay, that makes sense, and that sounds very cool.
It is very cool. You should consider being a big.
I'm as I was working on this, I was talking to my wife, and we're like, okay, let's see if we can find some time in our life to make this happen. Because yeah, I think I really would like to be one. So is that kind of the primary service that the Big Brother Big Sister is like that mentorship, or is there any other core services that you guys offer as well?
So we are a mentoring agency. So the program that everybody seems to know about is our community-based program, where it's an adult in the community with a youth ages 6 to 17, and they meet one-on-one and do that, life-changing mentoring, friendship building kind of thing. We also have another program. It's called our school-based program. That one excites me because it kind of ties my love of teaching and working with high school students and education. So our school-based program matches an elementary student with a high school student who's a junior or senior. That has an open period, maybe a lunch, a study hall, a teacher assist, something like that. And they go to the elementary school and meet one-on-one with an elementary student once a week just to be a friend, a role model, a break in the day for an elementary student. And I have found that such a powerful thing because it's kind of youth and youth working together. So it really starts building some sense of community with our high school bigs to see that they too could make an impact at 16 or 17 in their own community. And then it's really fun for the elementary students who, when their high school big walks in, they're like, that's my big, that's my friend. And they introduce their big to other people. And that relationship just becomes really powerful. I can tell a million stories about that relationship and that dynamic, but I love it because it's youth in our community giving back to other youth in our community. And it includes all of our schools. It doesn't matter where you went to elementary school, where you go to high school, you can be a big, you can be a little. And I think that's really a piece that a lot of people don't know about in Granite. So we're always looking for high school bigs as well. So if you have a high school junior or senior that has the ability to drive and some time in their schedule, it's something that they can do. And it's nice because it counts as volunteer hours for them for community service things, for scholarship applications and stuff like that. So it's a win-win for everybody as well as the community-based program. I love them both, but the school-based is always going to be near and dear to my heart as a former teacher, that I just think it's a cool thing to see high school kids giving back as well.
Yeah, and I bet if you're in elementary school or you're a kid in those ages, yeah, and you see a senior or junior walk through, they're like big deal. You're like, oh yeah, that's really. And I bet I was meaning to ask you like what you guys have seen for like age gaps that work really well, because I imagine if I'm like 35-year-old man and I'm, taking out my little, sometimes that age gap there, it's just like we live in different worlds. So like we can hang out, but it's probably not quite the same as like a high schooler hanging out with the elementary school. It's just because the age gaps is so much smaller, so they can probably a little more relatable.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think age gaps though are really powerful because mentorship, you're bridging kind of like that generation gap. So it gives you the opportunity to both learn from older generations, but also learn from younger generations.
Oh, yeah.
So I find that maybe like some of our older mentors that volunteer, it helps them feel more connected to our youth nowadays and helps them feel more connected to the world and get out more, especially for our younger youth. Maybe sometimes they don't have someone that old in their life that maybe can be like a grandma or grandpa, like speaking about big age gap.
Yeah.
But it gives them the opportunity to learn and kind of have that relationship in a separate act.
There's probably not too many other instances where they can have that kind of relationship, I imagine too, huh? In that kind of controlled environment. That is very, very cool. I didn't think about that. So how do you guys find littles and bigs for the programs? Or or do they find you?
For bigs, at least, we're very reliant on volunteers. So we go out, we try to do kind of like tabling events. We go out to businesses. Any business is listening and they want us to go out and talk. We are more than happy to join. Give talks about what it is to be a big and try doing recruitment that way. With littles, we get referrals from all places. So kind of like you said, you've known about Big Brothers, Big Sisters your whole life. Some people have come to me that way. They're like, oh, I've always seen the organization, but I never know what it's about. So they come in just for like a quick chat to learn more about it. And we also get referrals from like school social workers, teachers,
neighbors, friends, word of mouth from other parents that have their kids in our program that are like, oh my gosh, I should tell my best friend and her son that they should be a part of this as well.
Yeah.
So we come at it from lots of angles, but we're always recruiting, always asking for both bigs and littles volunteers and mentees.
Sure, you got to stand on many, many hills and mountains and scream to get. We totally get that.
We call it planting seeds. It's my biggest thing. And Troisy always laughs when I say this, but I always say to people, if not you, and you don't have the time, or you just don't feel like it's a good fit, or it's not a good time in your life, have small children, or whatever, then who?
Yeah.
Because I would guess that if you aren't comfortable doing it, I bet you know somebody who is. So I'm always saying, if not you, that's okay.
Yeah.
Then who would you recommend? And get us in touch with that person, because we'll talk to them. And maybe you talk to them and say, hey, I was at work and we did a lunch and learn over lunch hour at Case in Holland, which we'll be going out to in July. And I heard about this program, and I just don't feel I have time, but you're really great with kids and you have a little bit of time because maybe you're an empty nester and all of your kids are out of the house now and you always coach Little League and did all of those kinds of things. This would be a great opportunity for you to give back and still be involved with youth. And we've gotten a few bigs that way through word of mouth and all of that. So it sounds kind of corny, I know, but I always say, if you can't do it, that's fine, but can you help us find somebody else who can?
You know, I have a sales background. I feel like I'd probably be too pushy, like trying to get people to like.
Oh,
Because I was gonna say,
seeds I've planted lots and lots
Yeah.
of times.
There's like a fine line there.
Every time I see them, I'm like, so they're like, get away from me! I'm not going to talk to you today.
I was just trying to say hi.
Right, but I think part of it is that some of that comes from not guilt, but like you said, I thought about it and I really wanted to. You'll know when it's time, and I tell people that we have lots of folks who've kind of been on the periphery and have done some other things, maybe been a board member, helped with community events that we've been a part of and stuff like that. And eventually they're like, okay, it's time. And you'll know. You'll know when it's time and it's a good fit in your life to do that for sure.
Sure.
And also, I always push a little bit. You have time. We often talk about the time that we spend in line or that we spend online, scrolling TikTok at night, or looking at your phone or standing in line at Starbucks for a coffee or wherever. But anytime that you're standing in line, if you think about if I would instead take that time, it's an hour a week. That's what we ask for.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are like, oh, I could probably squeeze out an hour.
Yeah.
And so I think if we start putting it into that perspective, it helps a little bit.
Interesting.
See, I'm making you feel guilty.
No, you're not making me feel guilty. I was trying to think about tactics. I don't want to call them tactics. Like we're trying to corner people, but
Yeah, for sure.
so I mean, let's say you do find some littles and bigs. Like I imagine safety is a big part of the process. Like, can you talk to us about that vetting process? Like, how do you find qualified bigs and littles?
Yeah, so first and foremost, safety of both our littles and bigs is always our number one priority. That's always at the forefront of everything that we do. We have a vetting process for bigs. They have to be 19 or older, hold a GED or high school diploma. They also have to pass an extensive background check that goes back about. We also do reference checks, minimum 3 references. If they've ever volunteered for another youth organization, check in with them as well. We do in-home interviews. So I go out to their homes. Normally it's minimum an hour and a half where we just chat so I can get to know them. And then even after, like say they're in a part of another organization or anything like that, we always reach out to them as well.
How long does that process usually take, you would say?
Yes, I would say minimum it would be about a month.
Okay.
But depending on everyone's schedules, because life could happen,
Sure.
it could be like a month to 3 months, I would say.
Sure.
There is a training component as well that we require for all of our bigs to do. It's a lot of safety stuff. Just It touches on a lot of issues that face youth today, family dynamics and things like that. So they also have to do that as well. They also have to have a driver's license and have a vehicle, because once they get in our community-based program, they're allowed to transport their little to events and activities in the community. So they have to have a driver's license, a safe vehicle, and insurance, and we have to pay for all of that as well. So it takes a little bit of time. I've had bigs tell us that sometimes they felt like the vetting process to become a big was more involved than it was for their first job. And after they got into it, they said, oh my gosh, I totally understand why you did that, and it's fine. It's not scary, and it's not anything to be intimidated about. It's just going to take a little bit of time because we want to be very sure that you are ready to be a big, and also that you're a good fit for our agency. Unfortunately, sometimes people volunteer for reasons that maybe don't fit our mission, and so that's a time for us to have those conversations and say, oh, I don't know if this is probably the agency for you, or this is what you want to do. So it's kind of a really good chance for us to get to know you and what your goals are as a big, or what you're looking to get out of it, as well as if you'd be a good fit for us.
Some early indication of commitment as well, huh? To see if they're committed enough to try to.
And speaking of commitment, we do ask once you become a big, that we do ask for a minimum of 1 year commitment, just because we know that life-changing friendships and relationships have the biggest impact if they happen over time. And so it is a 1 year, and at the end of that 1 year, we have a conversation. Do you want to keep going? I would say a huge majority, I don't have an exact number, but it's pretty rare that somebody's matched for just a year. Most people figure out, oh, I can fit this into my life. I'm really invested now in my little. It's powerful. It's way easier than I thought it was going to be. And they end up staying for the duration. It's not uncommon for us to have matches that start in elementary school that go all the way through till that little graduates from high school, which is one of our goals. We always, high school graduation is one of our goals for every single one of our littles. So, it's not an expectation that you stay around that long, but we certainly would, for a year at least, is what we ask.
I didn't consider that because I was reading the website and they were talking about the 1 year commitment. I was automatically thinking about like wow, that's quite a bit of a commitment like for the bigs, but I didn't think about it from the little side. Yeah, because I imagine if you've had this friendship with this person and the next thing you know, like they're just not coming to see you, like automatically what do they think? Like I'm the problem, or I did something to make them sad or whatnot. And yeah, that probably could be very traumatic for them. Is it often that littles become bigs? Like, do you guys keep statistics of that? Like, that's actually really interesting.
So when I first started in Grand Island, there was a young man who had been a high school big. And his little was, I want to say a first grader, don't quote me on that, he was a second grader. And they were together for a couple of years. And the big went to college. He went to UNK and was finding out that he was coming back pretty frequently to come home and, get out of Kearney or whatever. And he contacted BBBS and said, is there any way that I could maybe become a community-based big for the little that I had that was in elementary school? So that happened. The parent was very excited about that. The little was like, oh my gosh, I get to see him all the time. And this is one of our feel-good stories. They were matched. So the big went all the way through college and stayed with his little. In that time that he graduated from college, he got married. The little was his ring bearer in his wedding. And then he went on to have several children of his own and made it all the way through. They were matched up until the little graduated from high school. And so you think about the life changes that happens from a young person from their junior year of high school through, adulthood and college and marriage and children and that kind of stuff. And he's stuck. And it's really funny that it always comes up because it was probably about a year ago I got a text message from that big with a picture, and it was him and his little had since moved away after he graduated from high school. And he said, look who was back in town. So we got together and had coffee, and he said, I haven't seen him for about 4 or 5 years, but he was back in Grand Island and checked to see if I was still here. So when you ask if these are life-changing or life-lasting, it is. And I hear those stories all the time. Oh, I was a big once. I went to my little college graduation, or I was invited to their wedding, or I was at their child's first baptism. All of those things are just stories that we hear constantly because it does make a difference in everybody's lives. So.
I bet nobody expects that when they enter the.
Nope.
Speaking of them working together, what's the process you guys for pairing bigs and littles? Like how do you figure who goes best with who, or is it a bit of a kind of a?
Yes, well, we are very intentional with the way that we match. I want to say, as kind of cheesy as it may sound, most of the time it's really kind of like a gut instinct. After I talk to the youth for 45 minutes, getting to know what they're like, talking to their parent, be like, oh, what are they like, or what are things that you're looking for? Asking the big, oh, what are your hobbies? What are you looking for in the match? What would you like to do when you're together with the little? And kind of just seeing once kind of like the stars align.
Yeah.
It's been pretty easy to match them. Because I know for bigs that are looking to volunteer, we have a waiting pool of about 18 littles all throughout our programs. So there's a little for everyone that's waiting right now. So
Yeah.
if someone really just wants to go out and play basketball, or if someone likes video games or anything like that, there's
Yeah.
not there for them.
Wait, so do you specifically pair them?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Well, it's kind of a team decision.
Yes, that is
When we do get to that point, I love it. It is very intentional. Often talk about it's sort of like setting somebody up on a blind date.
Yeah.
And you think about interests and likes and hobbies and what they enjoy doing. And I love that you mentioned that we don't have a waiting list. We have a waiting pool.
Yeah.
And we're very specific in saying that because we are intentional with who we match with.
Okay.
So if we have a little who is very into like gaming and video games and things, computer things and stuff like that, we're probably not going to match them with a big who is big into outdoor sports and all things outside and fishing and hunting and things like that, because we do want you to have some commonalities and some things that you enjoy doing together to foster some of those hobbies and interests. And so if we have a big who is interested in those outdoor things, we're not going to just pair them with any little. We want to make sure that it is a good fit. And so I think that's really important too. And because we are intentional like that, it helps with the success of a match a lot of times, because people feel like I have a little who I actually have a common language with, something that we do. We've had matches build computers together from the ground up, that the little shot his first deer with his big. So any hobby that you have, I can about guarantee you that we can find a little who's also interested in that, and we'll try to match you with them.
Do you guys get giddy like when they have their first meetup and you're just like how does it go? You're just like dying to know.
I know one of my favorite ones was one of the more recent, when they had first met, little kind of, they had, the way we do our matching, we don't just kind of throw them together and hope for the best.
Yeah.
We facilitate the first match with them. We introduce parent, little, big, and then we let the little and the big go out on like a mini match outing for half an hour, and then they come back, check in with the parent, make sure everyone's feeling good, being happy. But I thought it was really cute with this specific match. They had just gone off for their mini match outing, and the mom kind of turned to me and said, "Oh my God." When the little saw her big get out the car, her eyes just lit up. And she's so beautiful. And then when we left, she was just like, "Bye, Troisy, bye, Michelle." She was just so happy after that. And just seeing the interaction, the immediate connection between those two, it filled my cup.
Yeah, for sure. That one still fills our cup, I think.
Through the process of being a big, are there just like some inherent benefits that you guys see that are just like just like why not, right? Like if you're gonna become a big, these are just the things that are probably gonna happen to you as far as like, benefit wise. What do you think about that?
I can mention one. I feel like I am not a big right now, but I am like an aunt. So I do have nieces and nephews who I have connections with, and I just think kind of like that inherent thing of seeing someone grow up, seeing them be curious, experience new things. It's very rewarding for someone to see that.
Yeah.
And I think being a big, if you don't have somewhere where you can be like an aunt, an uncle, an older cousin, an older sibling, it's very rewarding to feel that for the first time.
And it's fun. I mean, they have fun. It's fun to see the bigs. We went paintballing in May. We do what's called monthly match outings. So we plan something once a month for all of our bigs and littles to enjoy doing together. And it can be everything from going bowling to going paintball, to go to a hockey game, to maybe go to one of our local painting places and do like some kind of an activity like that. We try to vary it. Some of it is to get people out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And to try something new. And some of it is to enjoy something fun together. And so paintball is hilarious. I have absolutely loved seeing some of our matches just blossom in a way. I had a big that was a female match, and the big is very girly. The nails, the hair, and the makeup is always done, and the little kind of enjoyed those things too.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of talk them into paintballing because that was a little bit out of their norm. And I always tell everybody, just try it once. And it's fun to experience something new and uncomfortable for the first time with somebody that you trust and feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, we'll go. So they came and they paintballed. And as soon as both of them felt that power of like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And they're skidding across the ground and they're shooting everybody. They're the first ones to sign up if we have another paintball event. They're like, oh my gosh, I never thought I would love it so much. It was empowering as a young girl to be like, oh, I'm shooting all this stuff. And it was just fun to watch that kind of blossom and grow. And so those new experiences. On the same hand, I've had a male match that both of them are very outdoor, rough and tumble guys that have no artistic talent. And we went to Arts and Drafts here in Grand Island and did a side-by-side painting. They were terrible. They were the worst painters you've ever seen. And I've also never seen somebody laugh and have so much fun because they experienced that together. And they were just teasing each other good-naturedly and giving each other a time like, man, you're terrible. This is like, yeah, so are you. And they also have come to several other painting events then.
Yeah.
So when you ask what's in it for a big, it feels good, but it's also really fun and it's very rewarding. I know we had the Nebraska State Match of the Year in our agency a couple of years ago, and when his little graduated, he said, "Gosh, I've been with him since he was 8, and I don't even know what to do now. Like he's become such an important part of my life." And they still meet. I know they do. I've seen them in the community. I get text messages once in a while. He said, "Yeah, I'm not going away. I want to be at his wedding, be at the birth of his children, that kind of stuff." So it's powerful.
I'm really glad you highlighted that because that was kind of my thoughts when you were talking about like them experiencing like discomfort together. And that's like such a big thing, and to have somebody there when you're going through that together and it's doing something really fun like painting or paintballing. That's so cool. I love it. I think you answered the question right, but I was like, are there some relationships that like continue after the program? Like that's a real common.
Very common.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure.
I know statistics don't really paint the whole picture, but there's some things that I think are probably important to focus on. Are there some really key metrics that you guys try to look at when you're looking at the success of the program?
Absolutely. I know one that I can think of just the top of my head is that 1 in every 3 youth in the country are growing up without any type of mentoring relationship at all. And once you kind of study mentoring and see how important it is to just have somewhere where you feel like you belong, someone to build opportunities and have you kind of like join them or learn new life skills, it's very sad to think.
1 in 3. I think, well, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. We do have a few statistics. I'm not a big numbers person, but I know from our federation, 90% of the youth that are involved in BBBS feel a greater sense of belonging and connection to a caring adult and their community, which I think is important because sometimes our youth feel really disconnected from their community. I think that's powerful. 82% of littles usually strengthen their level of engagement with school and have higher graduation rates. And probably the one that is most important today is that youth who have a trusted adult or a mentor in their life consistently report less stress, anxiety, and depression. And a lot of that is just that they have somebody that they know and they're getting out and doing things. So it also increases graduation rates, which is huge for us. But I just think just that feeling of connectivity to your community and to someone else is so powerful.
One really cool thing too for a lot of parents to consider when enrolling their youth. I think one misconception is that bigs take over the role of parents or that they kind of step into something like that when it's absolutely the opposite. The big becomes a friend and in turn kind of with the youth having somewhere where they belong, feeling more connected, they have improved relationships with their parents and family members, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, sometimes it's often hard to have fun with your parents. It's just, it's sad for parents to say, but it's just your kids, I don't know, as cool as you are, they're not having that much fun with you. So having that somebody is a completely different relationship. I can see that. Well, since you kind of brought it up, is there any other misconceptions that you think other people have about the program or organization? You mentioned that it seems daunting to try to allocate an hour of your week for it, but to your point, it's very much doable. So I think that's a big misconception. Anything else that you think?
There's one big misconception. I know it's getting better, but I know when I first started working here, the question everybody asks is, I don't know how to handle some of the trauma that some of our youth have. There was this conception that the youth that we serve have maybe been in foster care, or they've had some type of abuse, or been part of some domestic violence or something like that. That is not the case for all of our students, our kids that we have. I always tell our bigs, we have youth from all walks of life. We have single moms with sons, we have single dads with daughters, we have some married married couples who just are looking for an extra mentor because maybe they don't have any family in this community. We have a lot of guardians or grandparents who are asking us guardians, and so they're looking for maybe someone who has a little bit more energy, like you talked about, to go and do some of those things. We also have one of our oldest bigs. They were looking for more of a grandparent kind of relationship. So they had a middle schooler who definitely wanted maybe an older big. And so that's more of that kind of multi-generational matching that we do. Our kids that we work with come from all walks of life and all different family dynamics and situations. People are always surprised when I say that we've had littles that their parents are married and in a very stable relationship. That's interesting. Also, kind of talking to you a little bit, because I'm going to plant that seed. We do, in our community-based program, do big couples. And so it's something that you can do with a spouse or a significant other that you've been with for 5
Years, I think it is.
3 years. Okay, sorry. I always get that wrong. So you can do it together as a couple, which makes it really fun. We have a couple of matches that are big couples, and the dynamic is really fun. And the feedback I get from the parents of the youth that have a big couple is, I'm so excited for my son to see what a healthy marital relationship looks like. And also, it's kind of a good balance because in one of the matches, the little likes art and to kind of do, some kind of hands-on creative things, but he's also very interested in outdoor stuff. So he'll do stuff with the big sister, like go painting or do some artistic kinds of things, and then go fishing with the big. And then they find activities to do together, all three of them. So that's a fun dynamic that I would love to see us expand and get a few more big couples. It's also a great way if you're on the fence and you're like, I don't know if I want to do this by myself. Having that significant other or your spouse along on those things kind of helps you to have that that dynamic go away. And it's also really fun for some of those littles because they're like, I have 2 bigs, you only have 1. So it's really fun. It's a different dynamic that's also very powerful.
Is that a newer?
No, we've
You guys have
always had
had
it,
the
but
couples
nobody ever talks about it. So that's also why I'm glad that we're doing this today, because it's a great chance for us to spread that word as well.
I like it. I like it a lot. Can you talk about some challenges that you guys are facing right now as an organization to try to do the work that you do? And how can our community support you?
I think one of the biggest challenges that I see, a large majority of the littles in our waiting pool are male littles. So it'd be awesome to see a lot of the positive male role models that I know are out in the community that can kind of give such a positive influence and make that impact in a little's life, and to kind of see them step up and help out a little bit.
Okay.
I always say we ask for 3 things: time, talent, and treasure. There are many ways that you can help our organization. Obviously, we'll always ask for treasure. We're a nonprofit, so any donation is great. But also, a part of that donation, it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary. It could be things like, hey, we have season tickets to the Hasbro football game, and we're not going to go to the September 27th game. Could you guys use these tickets? The answer is yes. We've had people donate tickets to the Orpheum to go see like some Broadway shows. We've had concert tickets donated, tickets to go see a movie or something like that, gift cards to restaurants so that our matches can go out. That's also one of those misconceptions that I was going to talk about, is that all the activities that we do, that we provide every month, are free of charge to our littles. And then also, when you take your little out in the community, we don't ask for the bigs to pay for their little to do those things. It's very much an equal thing of the big pays for themselves, the littles pay for themselves. And if it's not in the budget for the little to maybe do that, we have lots of things that they can do that are free of charge. They can come and hang out at our office, where we have a rec room full of video games and foosball and art supplies and board games and all that kind of stuff. We have a cozy space they can watch a movie, put a puzzle together, something like that. And then also we pass along those tickets or those gift cards and stuff so they can do that. So that's awesome. But honestly, what I always ask for is your time. That's actually sometimes just as valuable to us as the monetary donations. Not quite, because we are a nonprofit, but your time and your talent. I always say, if you have a skill or a hobby or something you do, we would love for you, if you don't feel like maybe being a big, maybe you'd be willing to do a little workshop and do maybe one of our match outings. I've had a couple years ago, we had a big who was really good at macrame when that was kind of becoming a thing. So she came in and we did a monthly match out. We brought our matches in and they all did macrame together, and it was a member of the community who taught how to do that. That was really fun. The kids had a great time and a wonderful chance for somebody to give back if they didn't feel like they had the time to be a big, but they could still help our agency. So, but we need people. We really, really, really need volunteers, because we can't do what we do without bigs. We never, ever have waiting bigs. We always have waiting littles.
Sure.
So
Thank you. Is there anything else that you want to add to that?
I think the biggest part is just kind of like, we're trying to build experiences, give these littles access to more opportunities, to learn more things, to get out in the community, to learn more of anyone has anything that they can donate in the sense of kind of like an activity that they can use.
Sure. Sure.
We are trying to get to that magic 100 number. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that. We are about 15 to 17 matches short right now. And we really, really want to get to 100 matches by the end of December. So we have a big push going on. We're recruiting as much as we can. We
Sure.
need I would love to see about 20 adults step up and apply and go through the process and think about becoming a big, because we really want to get to that 100 number. It's just kind of a milestone number for us. Also, we've been in Grand Island since 1967. We're 2 years away from our 60th anniversary, and we want to be at that 100 number by the time
Yeah.
we roll around, but we're really pushing hard to get to that number by the end of the year. That's something that we're really striving for internally, and why we're kind of amping up our recruiting with bigs right now.
All right, time for us as a male bigs to step up, because we got a bunch of littles trying to hang out. So you know what? I'm just gonna do it. Let's do it. You got one at least from me.
That's fantastic.
Let's go through the process. Let's get it done. I'm actually very, very excited. Okay.
But we'll take it.
This seed's been planted for probably 10 years. I've been thinking about it for so long.
Take 2 or 3 asks for people to volunteer. 5 to 10 asks before people step up and volunteer. But we're also finding when you ask directly, that conversation face to face, it's also more powerful. There are a lot of people who are like, oh, I'll do that when you ask. So I'm not afraid. I will ask anybody.
I think we're gonna kind of wrap up the podcast here with maybe any future plans that you guys would like to share with us that you feel are exciting.
Well, we do have our Big Putt tournament coming up right now.
Putt?
Yes, we do it every year. It's honestly become a tradition in the community, and a lot of the people that are participating. It's groups of 4. You go around railside. It's kind of like a bar.
It's like a bar crawl with putt golf.
Oh, and what's the date for that?
August 2nd.
August 2nd.
But it's very fun. We're actually getting new holes this year. We have new prizes. New bars are joining in, like some of the new bars downtown have opted to join in. So it'll be a lot of fun, new stops, new holes, and a great way to support us.
Heck yeah, I'm starting to see more and more. Like when I graduated in 2008, like downtown was just there was nothing down there. So it's making me very happy to see that our downtown is growing and it's becoming kind of a hub for a lot of activities and stuff. So
well, and Big Putt's a great way for you to kind of get to know us and experience Big Brothers Big Sisters a little bit. Get a team of 4 together. Proceeds from your registration, obviously, it's a fundraiser for us, but also it's a great chance. We have lots of bigs that are around. Our staff is there, so you have the chance to talk to us all day. We always have all kinds of information, so you kind of get a vibe for it. It's also a great way to maybe in the summer or something like that. It's a fun afternoon for couples to do it. A girl group or a bunch of guys. I mean, it's just a blast. It is such a fun event. It's my favorite event that we do, but it also just raises awareness, gets us some funds for us, and also hopefully gets us some bigs as well.
yeah, absolutely. August 2nd.
August 2nd. If you check out our website, we're at mentorcentral.org. We're also BBBS of Central Nebraska. So if you Google either one of those, you'll get to our website, and there's information about Big Putt on there under the events tab. So you can register and do all that stuff in there.
Awesome. I love it. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. That was really fun, and I hope everybody learned a thing or two. And again, considering joining the program and being a big. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add?
No, thank you for the time for us to talk. As you know, we could talk about it. And thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to end the podcast there. Thank you so much, guys. We will catch you guys on the next episode.